Welcome, 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 welcome. Rod, 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 rod. As you, as you cover your face in disappointment, this, this final week, week 18, and all right. Before we even get into everything, let's start with the pleasantries, man. This is, of course, the Phin Outta Water Football Show. You can catch us live on Facebook and on YouTube. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now, man. Make sure that you're active in the chat. Make sure that you like. Make sure that you can leave a comment and comment hearts, stars, whatever the hell it is, man. Let's catch this algorithm, and we can't do this without you guys, man. Now, with the pleasantries out the way, Rod, what a poetic end to another disaster season for the South Florida home team, the lovable losers of the South Beach. Disco Drives, Lennox Drives finest boys, the Miami Dolphins. Um, yeah, not only did you guys lose and what could have been an opportunity to make it to the playoffs, you lost to the team that you did not want to lose to the most personally, which is the New York stinking Jets, who were able to
Man,
beat you guys 32-20, man. So let's just get this out of the way, man. And let's just get this conversation out of the way, man. Let's do a temperature check,
oh
man. Where are
man.
you today? Where are you currently? And where are you with this team as it stands in 2025, Mr. Rob, man?
Hey, uh, first and foremost, man, I just want to say what's up, everybody. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have much to say on Herb's poetic intro. But look, Herbie, I think many Dolphin fans will feel me when I say this. Like, this game isn't even worth talking about. Like, this isn't even a game worth. We lost, Herbie. We lost to the Jets, man. The Jets. Ah, but Herbie, let me tell you something. If the Dolphins have a season where we go 2-15. If we beat the Jets twice, I'll live. I'll live. I'll live regardless. But that to me, if we're gonna be terrible, let us just beat the Jets, Herbie. And we couldn't even do that. And I get it. We had Tyler Huntley playing. Shout out to Snoop throwing 2 picks in the first half. Shout out. Uh, the defense, obviously, for whatever reason, Herbie, the Dolphins defense decides that they want to make Aaron Rodgers look like how he used to look. Like his two best games were against us. Okay. Um, Listen, man. To be honest with you, Herbie, you said it perfectly to start off the show. This game was a microcosm of our entire season, right? Just, just, just falling behind and failing to catch up. We did it. We did it in the first half of this game. We were catching up in the second half just to fall short, and that has been the mark of the season, dating back to week 2. And I think it leads. I think a game like this, Herbie, and really the way this season has gone, especially when you consider the first 2 years of Mike McDaniel's tenure here, it doesn't like we're going backward. We're going backward, right? You make the playoffs your first 2 seasons. Obviously, Tua getting hurt is going to hamper, not expectations per se, but it's just going to hamper your ability to do the best that you can do for this team the way it's constructed. But damn, Herbie, knowing, and this game is a truly the perfect sample to use for the Dolphins season. You waited too long. You waited too long to get yourself a competent backup. They wanted, for whatever reason, Herbie. I guess Skylar Thompson is Mike McDaniel's Call of Duty buddy. I don't fucking know, but they held on to him too long. You know what I'm saying? You never invested in a viable backup, knowing that your quarterback, who you paid, is injury prone, is a guy who you have to always consider that factor. Tua had 2 separate injuries this year, Herbie, that have held him out of games. The concussion that put him on IR, the hip injury that kept him out these last 2 games. And this ended up being a game where we could have used him, even though in the end, the Broncos completely annihilated the Chiefs backups. So in the end, even if we would have won, it wouldn't have mattered. but still, you still want to see the team come out, show some life. You know what I'm saying? Show some drive. Show you know what I mean. You want to show you can't do that against the Jets. The defense held early, and then they just kind of just gave up. You know what I mean? And that's what this team just did this season, Herbie. They gave up on us. They gave up on. It's a fucking shame, man. Like, I'm at a loss for words at how
I
this
see it.
season
I
has
see it. I
gone,
see
bro.
it.
Like,
Relax, man. Just take some time to yourself, man. This is we've been doing this for 18 weeks. We've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing the video version of this podcast for 3 years. We've been doing some form of iteration of this podcast for 13. I want to say, well, we started in 2012 or was it 2014? Whatever. It's been a decade in some capacity, on and off. This is the first time, and it pains me to say this, but this is the first time I have seen the Miami Dolphins truly break your spirit, Rod, man. They truly
man.
did the impossible, dog. Like, there was a deep sigh of just disappointment. You don't have anything else to say. And that's when it's bad. I don't want you to become me. I don't want you to become desensitized. I don't want you to become dead inside. I don't want you to become a version of what I am when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, a person who just does not care. Because somebody has to care. This podcast is done, bro. Like, we both can't be apathetic to our football teams, dog. Like, somebody has to give a fuck. All right,
Herbie, they make it hard, man.
they do make it hard. They
man.
make it hard.
They make it
Let me get to
hard,
this
man.
comment real quick, man. El Smooth is in the chat. Shout out to El Smooth, man.
Hey,
What's
shout out
going
El
on?
Smooth. Appreciate you,
What do
homie.
y'all think about Chris Canty saying Joe Burrow is not elite? We will have a full conversation in regards to our biggest disappointments. That's a little later. We want to go ahead and get the Dolphins portion of the podcast at the end of the day, because this is a Dolphins podcast before it's a full NFL podcast first and foremost. But I will say this, spoiler alert, Chris Canty's an idiot, bro. There you go. There's nothing, there's nothing else to say.
What is it? You know what, Herb? I just want to throw this point out there. I don't get, like, you would think that a former NFL player would just say a lot more credible things, but these motherfuckers are no different than the fucking analysts.
They
Like,
are, because what happens, and a lot of times, and I hope this never happens to us personally, is that you get to the point where you follow numbers versus follow what you actually believe in this game, because it's a numbers game. Rage bait, clickbait, that shit wins. You feel me? Sometimes I have to do it, and I don't actually love doing it in regards to, us putting our content out and stuff like that, having to be salacious or having to have catchy titles and stuff like that. So I try to toe
it's
the
a part of the
line.
game, though. That's the
It's
thing,
a part
yeah.
of the game, but I try to. But you'll never hear me say that Joe Burrow is not elite. That's just stupid, dog. You don't have to. You don't have to go that far. All right?
Crazy. That's just nonsense.
You don't have to go that far to say that Joe Burrow is not elite. You're basically saying Tom Brady is not elite. Peyton Manning
Herbie,
isn't elite.
who in the history of football has ever thrown for 43 touchdowns and was not considered an elite quarterback?
Come on,
Like,
dog.
let's be
Come on,
real.
dog.
Come on,
Come on,
man. Get the
dog.
fuck
Like,
out of here, man.
He's been to a Super Bowl. Did he win? No. But he's been to the Super Bowl. He has a lot on his resume in a very short amount of time. So no. As long a long roundabout way to answer the question, no. We have no feelings or thoughts about what he's talking about, because he's tripping, bear. All right, another comment for the homie L Smooth. The Dolphins got so much potential, man. It's no way they should not be at home in January. But this comes down to being
Smooth,
healthy.
listen, smooth. You're talking. I'm sorry to cut you off, Herb.
Now go ahead, Rod.
But-
This is your team, bro.
but,
Have
you know,
at it, man.
No, I appreciate his comment, because I'm assuming he might not be a Dolphin fan. Like, he might be an outside observer with, like, an objective eye. You're absolutely right, Smooth. You're absolutely right, my boy. The Dolphins are a team that do have a lot of potential, but the problem with this team always seems to be, no matter what talent that we have, is we don't execute when we need to execute. This is a team that has had execution issues. This is a team that has had talent disparities at positions where you shouldn't. And all those things, they come together. Injuries have been, Herbie, I can't remember the last time the Dolphins by December weren't beat to hell. And listen, I know every team in the NFL deals with injuries, Herbie. Like, the Dolphins aren't the only team, but it just seems like half our team is on IR or is just not available for the final games when we have our most important games of the season. And, Tua, Tua is a perfect example this year, but even last year, the 1 year Tua was healthy the whole season, or he played the whole season, right? Because his first year they just didn't start him right away. Herbie, everybody else was out. Waddle was hurt. Tyreek was limping, fucking running routes. Like, we were starting with, I think we had like two of our offensive lineman starters by the time we got to the playoffs. Like, half the defense, like Herbie, team was beat to hell. Lost both of our starting pass rushers last year. Lost them. We didn't have them for this year. Like, it's just the Dolphins are just a steaming pot of of just being unlucky mixed with poor execution, mixed with poor decision making from the top of the organization all the way down, from the ownership, from the front office, and even the coaching. You know what I mean? Like Herbie, I don't want to see Mike McDaniel call plays anymore, man. I'm sick of it, man.
Okay, so that's a conversation for another day, and we would definitely have that conversation because I don't think that's a conversation that's going to go your way. But again, we have a whole off season to have this. We have episodes to do till August, till training camp, bro. We have all the time in the world to have that conversation. But I want to ask you something because what is this going on? How many years the Dolphins have won a playoff game?
24 years.
24 years. You guys have not won a playoff game. That is insanity. Like, that's insanity.
Disgusting.
I am
disgusting.
I'm 35. I was 11 the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game, dog. This is gonna sound very.
We were in middle school, Herbie. We were in middle school. I remember.
Like this. We're gonna put this in proper context. I didn't even know how to properly beat my meat. But the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game, dog, I didn't even know the concept of that, bruh. Like, I didn't even understand the concept of that. Like, that's how long it's been since you guys have won a playoff game, dog. Like, this is like, you guys are a bad franchise. At this point, we just have to call it spade with spade, bro. You're a bad franchise at this point, dog. And it sucks because there's so much potential, but potential does not mean anything. Potential is just a word, bro.
If it's untapped, Herbie, it's meaningless. Yeah, it's meaningless,
All right, man. So El Smooth is a Falcons fan, and he messes with the Dolphins, man. So, El Smooth, man, you can go ahead, leave it in the chat, man. How do you feel about Penix? How do you feel about Drake London? How do you feel about your team going into next season? Do you think it was the right move to get Kirk Cousins up out the motherfucking paint, man? But in the meantime, man, is there any last words that you want to go ahead and have before we transition to the next part of the pod and talk about this 2024 season as a whole in a macro sense, sir?
Yeah, man. Just parting words for the Dolphins. We're gonna obviously have the whole offseason to talk about this team, Herbie. But if I'm a Dolphin fan, I know my fellow Dolphin fans, I know many of the fans who will see this, they will feel me on this, Herbie. This team makes you feel at times, year after year, they make you feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? Like, Herbie, you watch a game like the game we seen today, and you ask yourself, Herbie, what's next? What's next? Oh, and you know what? I forgot. I wanted to do this, Herbie. This is a list. I have a list here. I forgot. I almost forgot. Perfect time.
Hey, man, let me get that list, man. Let me get that list, man. Let me get that list, man.
Hold on 1 second. I had screenshotted it in my phone. I'll just read off of it, Herbie. These are players. All right. This is a list of players who might have played their final game as a Dolphin. So the light at the end of the tunnel is not getting better. Calais Campbell, probably going to retire.
Pretty much.
Javon Holland. Yeah. Tyreek Hill. Teron Armstead.
Camp casualty.
Emmanuel Ogba. Cyril didn't contribute too much. I think he was a special teams guy. Raheem Mostert. Jeff Wilson. Man, get Liam Eichenberg the fuck out of here. God, I hope he's gone. Benito Jones. The D-line depth. Deshaun Hand. River Craycraft, which are all these guys in some form or fashion were regular contributors to this team, some more than others, obviously. But Herbie, the tides are changing. We are talent deficient in the offensive line. We need players on defense. You have a third of the fan base, maybe even more at this point, calling for the quarterback. It's just like the entire there aren't any Dolphin fans that finish this season. Yeah, we have the 13th pick of the draft, which another middling pick because we love being in the middle, Herbie. I saw a meme before today's game that said It was one of those SpongeBob memes where he's holding something that goes old reliable and then opens up and it goes 8-8 Dolphins. Like, yeah, yeah, 8-8 is the old reliable, Herbie. 8-8 is the old reliable. 7-9, 9-7, the middle, the fucking middle. The Dolphins love
Oh
being in
my
the
God!
fucking
The
middle,
way that
dog.
y'all started 1-7 and finished 8-8, and then y'all started 7-2 and finished 8-8, bro. It was just
Herbie,
incredible,
the
man.
500
It's
gods we are cursed. The 500
bro.
gods won't let us
That
go, man.
Okay, so anybody who's new to the channel, anybody who's first time watching, we have a running joke on this podcast that we've been doing this for 3 years, the video form, right? That the Dolphins have been cursed by the 500 gods, and for 3 straight seasons, bro. The only reason why they not 500 is because it's impossible to go 500 now with 17 games in the schedule, dog. You cannot go 500 anymore. And other than that, the Dolphins would be 500 for 3 straight seasons, man.
Well,
It's
we had
incredible.
one outlier with the 11-6 season last year.
True.
But
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 still,
but
if you
majority, like, if you go back the past 10 years,
yeah,
7 of our records are either 7-9, 8-8. Like, dude, easy.
easy. Okay,
Crazy.
man. Let's let's brighten the mood before we bring it back down. Unfortunately, man. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna go ahead and transition over and talk about and in a way just recap the 2024 season. Not a full recap because we'll probably do that on next week's episode when we can really like break it anything in and stuff like that. But let's just recap some couple things before we look at the playoff matchups now that the season is done and we could look towards the future, man. But before we look to the future, let's go backwards to go forward, man. 2024 season, man. Rod, what was some of your biggest surprises, man? And we could just rant. We don't gotta speak too long because we still gotta do the playoff matchup. So we could just rattle off some of your biggest surprises.
Oh yeah, I'll have a few words, and I guess the first big surprise is a guy that comes to mind right away. Herbie, Sam Darnold.
Fucking guy,
Sam
man.
Sam
Fucking
Darnold, man.
guy,
And
man.
and look, Herbie, look, we've seen the Vikings in particular too. We've seen this kind of season before. Case Keenum had a crazy year like this. You know what I mean?
This
Like,
is
it's
different
not.
though. This is different because
Yes.
Case
That's
Keenum
what I
has
was gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it's
And
different.
to anybody this your
It
first
is
time
different.
watching, I hate Sam Darnold. I've been hating on Sam Darnold for a long time. I try to kick his back end as much as possible. I kicked his back end when he was with the 49ers. I kicked his back end when he was with the Jets. I kicked his back end when he was with Carolina. And I'm always proven right. But this season I have to give it up to Sam because it wasn't just the statistics. It wasn't the touchdowns to the interceptions. He was making plays. He showed that he is somebody that you could win with. He showed that he is somebody you could go into a dogfight with. He showed that he got heart. He showed that he got monkey nuts. He had multiple game-winning drives. He had multiple comeback from behind victories. He had multiple. Hey, bro, we need a throw. Gotta have a throw. He did that all season. So it pains me to have to give it up to Sam Darnold. And I don't have no reason to hate him. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he has a great family. I just don't like the guy, bruh. So I have been basking in his failures since 2018, dog. But this year is different. That dude is going to get $50 million a year.
Herbie. Think about this, man. And I thought this was like a kind of a cool thing. Josh McCown, I think he was talking on. Josh McCown said like 5-6 years ago that like Sam Darnold could be a Pro Bowler. Sam Darnold is a Pro Bowler this year. Guess who his QB coach is?
Josh
Guess who the
McCown.
quarterback? Guess like it's funny how sometimes life you can speak life into things, bro. And I
Nah,
know sometimes
facts.
people don't like
Facts.
to hear that type of shit, but it's a real thing. Like, you can speak life into shit. And Sam Darnold, to his credit, not trying to sound like just any old Joe Schmo, but I honestly feel this way about him because he is a guy that I used to make fun of too. Herbie, the guy worked his ass off to get back to this point. Think about this, Herbie. The Vikings were not a team when, especially with JJ McCarthy ordered out. I don't think people had high expectations for the Vikings. And for them to be able to compete for the number one seed for the entire NFC playoffs right now, tonight, with Sam Darnold under center, number one, speaks to volumes of Kevin O'Connell as a coach. Speaks volumes of Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator because that unit has been badass all year. Imagine they're a team with a top 10 offense, top 10 defense. And listen, I started this with Sam Darnold. Shout out to Sam Darnold. I'm gonna be interested in seeing what he does in the playoffs now. You know what I mean? Now it's money time. Now it's money
Nah,
time. But
facts.
for now, props to him, man.
Uh, chat one more time. El Smooth, man, he's a free agent. Do you think the Vikings keep him or move on with JJ McCarthy? The Vikings want to move on with JJ McCarthy. You don't draft that dude where you drafted him unless you intend to make him the future of your team. Problem is, you cannot get rid of Sam Darnold based on the season that he had. Because Sam Darnold, from October to now, he went from a $30 million quarterback to a $40 million quarterback. Now he's a $50 million quarterback. There is no guarantee that you can get what you got out of Sam Darnold with J.J. McCarthy. Remember, Sam Darnold is younger than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It doesn't sound like it. It doesn't seem that way.
It don't even feel. He don't even look like it.
It doesn't feel that way. So it's not like he's old. It feels like he's been in the NFL for 25 years. He's not. He got drafted before Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. He's in their draft class. He's younger than both of them. He was 20 years old when he came into the NFL. So he's a young dude. I think he's like 26 or 27. So there's no way you can let a 27-year-old dude who just made a Pro Bowl, who did what he did. Again, it's not the stats. Stats lie to people. Stats can lie to you. All 40 touchdown, 35 touchdown seasons are not created equal. There's a degree of difficulty that Sam Darnold played with this season that was abnormal by his standards. So if they move on for if they move on from Sam Darnold, the only reason why they did that is because Kevin O'Connell, who is the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, in his mind was like, man, all that shit was scheme, bro. That nigga didn't do shit. Everything was because of me. All that shit you seen was scheme. I watched too many of their games to say that it was just scheme. Sam Darnold made
plays.
He made plays after play after play after play outside of the scheme. He still has his faults. He still will throw the ball to somebody that's right in front of his face. He still will take a bad sack. But he made enough high-end plays to, you can say, I can live with the stupid Sam Darnold shit. So, yeah, I can't see them going. And, again, J.J. McCarthy's young. It's ironic. Again, J.J. McCarthy's in the same situation. J.J. McCarthy, when he got drafted this year, just turned 20. So there's a world where J.J. McCarthy sits for 2 years. They see what they get for Sam Darnold. They run it back. If Sam Darnold is that dude, they trade J.J. McCarthy. If he's not, J.J. McCarthy is your future. So they have more than enough time to figure that out, especially
the Vikings are in the rare position, Herbie, where they have two quarterbacks, but it's like hopeful. Right? Like normally if you're balancing,
you have two quarterbacks, you have none. And I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to get that phrase in because
that was the point I was going to make.
Yeah. So normally when you got two quarterbacks, you got none. When they have two quarterbacks and they have draft capital, they have assets, they have leverage, dog. So, but yeah, let's just go ahead and rattle off some more of the disappointments so we can do the shit that we actually like to do, which is make fun of people, man. So, this is the happy-go-lucky shit. We don't like doing that shit, man. So some other surprises, man. Commanders, obviously. Jaden Daniel, obviously. Saquon Barkley. As somebody who's an NFC East fan, I don't want to say he's surprising because I had to play him two times a year. I always saw the potential, but this is what happens when you have a supreme talent, once in a generation running back with arguably one of the best lines we've ever seen, bro. You get 2,000 yards, dog. But lesser known people, bro. Bucky Irvin for the Bucks, hell of a surprise.
Baller.
James Cook, hell of a surprise.
Stole his brother's powers, man. Freaky Friday, bro, man. Shit.
That's the question that we got to ask, bro. This is a question we're going to ask to people. We're going to ask you, Rod, do you think James Cook's Space Jammed Dalvin Cook? Because the minute Dalvin Cook became ass, his brother became raw. And it's not like his brother is like just got drafted. They played in the NFL at the same time. James Cook was not good like 3 years ago. He wasn't. And now he's a Pro Bowler. Damn near all pro.
Crazy. It's crazy how that happens. And it happens right after Dalvin Cook just just loses everything. He just
So
lost
you
all his
think he
powers.
like snuck in his room and made him touch the Space Jam ball, dog? Like you think
Herbie, it's either the Space Jam ball or voodoo. It's it's one of he.
they are from
J-
South, they are from Miami, bro. So it
I was
might
like,
be
hey,
voodoo.
James Cook went to the voodoo lady, and it was just he offered her a little song. It was like, please, baby, please, oh mommy, let me
Okay,
get my
all
brother's
right.
skills, man.
Are you saying, Rod? I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but are you saying that James Cook took a piece of his brother's dress and went down to the woo lady and said, "Make it happen, bro"? Is that what you are
Listen, man,
alleging?
I'm alleging that. Yeah, hey, I don't want nobody coming for me. I don't want nobody poking my spirit, taking me down. I ain't trying to reveal no secrets, man. I'm just, hey, clearly speculation. Clearly,
Clearly
that's all.
speculation,
Just
man.
speculation, man. Just
But another
speculation.
surprise, man. The Denver Broncos, obviously, they made the Pro Bowl. I mean, they made the playoffs. They with the rookie quarterback. That
Mm-hmm.
is a hell of a surprise. And yeah, we want to be mad because they kept the Dolphins out of the playoffs ultimately, but the Dolphins lost the game anyway, so they probably wouldn't have got in anyway. But yeah, man. And another surprise, and this is gonna be the yin to the yang of the disappointments. And the reason why I want to talk about this surprise, and it's a person in particular, and the reason why I want to talk about this person is because it gives me the opportunity to do something that me and you on this podcast do a lot, which is we we like to we like to acknowledge when groupthink goes overboard, and we like to really open the veil and open the doors and look at the behind the scenes of when it comes to draft conversations, draft discourse, how a lot of these quote unquote draft experts don't know what the fuck they talking about. They all just follow each other because nobody actually wants to be wrong. Nobody actually wants to stand on something.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody only has to actually have an opinion. And I'm so happy that Brian Thomas Jr. had the season that he had. 87 receptions, 1,200
1,100
yards,
yards,
1,100
1,200
yards,
yards.
10 touchdowns as a rookie. That
Beast.
is a 5-year veteran stat line. He did it as a rookie, and he did it with two bad quarterbacks. So that's to tell you everything. On a
Yep.
bad team, with a bad offensive line, with a bad offensive system, allegedly. And the reason why I want to talk about him is because when Chris Sims, hate him or love him, he is the only person when it comes to draft discourse who just tells you what he actually thinks. He doesn't go line by line with other people. He doesn't have the same exact rankings as other people. Hell, he had Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence. And I hate to break it to anybody who's listening. We kind of did too, which is the biggest biggest red eye on the history of this podcast, which we don't like to talk about a lot.
Woo! That was
But
before people was watching. Yeah, that was
that was before
before.
people was watching. Thank
That was
God.
before.
Our shit would have been dead on arrival if that fucking clip went viral. Holy shit. But I love that he has his own thought process and comes to his own opinion on these draft prospects, right? He is the only person who had Justin Jefferson. He's really good when it comes to wide receivers, right? When I think it was a 2020 draft, he's the only person who had Justin Jefferson ahead of Jerry Jeudy. Everybody had Jerry Jeudy as number one. He didn't have Jerry Jeudy in his top 10. That's proven to be right. And he's the only person, I mean, the only person that had Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. And based off of the 2 seasons that Malik Neighbors had and Brian Thomas Jr. had, he was not only right, he was overwhelmingly right. But people try to clown him. And the only reason why people try to clown him is because nobody has real opinions, dog. And that shit is annoying.
Well, here's the thing, Herbie. You can't really clown somebody for a draft pick, in my opinion, just because we don't even know how these motherfuckers gonna play out. Like when someone's giving their opinions, yeah, you can go with the opinion that most people go with, the safe opinion. But at the end of the day, if you actually watch film, you should be able to formulate your own opinion. And if it just so happens it deviates, who cares? Because at the end of the day, we all see different things. You and I can watch film, Herbie, and literally it could be the same play, and we'll take something different from it. So when I guess people, but most people don't watch film, Herbie. Most people go online and they look at the draft boards. What did Mel Kiper say? What did they look at what Daniel Jeremiah or whoever the fuck did they go to for draft advice? It could be like PFF, you know what I mean? But people go off of those things without actually, not everyone obviously, but I assume many people aren't gonna actually, like, for us in the offseason, we're gonna watch a fucking shit ton of film and we're gonna be able to talk about these draft picks coming up in the offseason. But most people aren't just doing that. They're gonna look at the draft board, look at the list, and go, "Ha, yeah, that guy. Oh, it should be that guy." And it's a shame, but that's just the way things seem to be.
But the part that pisses me off of what you're saying is that when he did that, he gets accused of trying to get clickbait, and he gets accused of trying to go viral when he's just giving his honest opinion, bro. Like,
Crazy. Herbie, we live in an era where people attack you like your opinion is wrong. It's just like, at the end of the day,
and they attacked him like his opinion is wrong, to the point where they thought that he was being facetious with his opinion just because he was not following the mass opinion. And it's like, dog, it's one thing to say, hey, I don't agree with that, but hey, maybe, let's communicate. Let's see how you got to that point. When people attack Chris Sims, and when people attack anybody who wants to think outside of the box, actually, you get treated like you're a fucking leper, dog. You get treated like you're a disease, a fucking virus. It's like, how dare you? How dare
Crazy.
you have just just a different opinion, which ultimately it is. How dare you put Brian Thomas Jr. over Marvin Harrison Jr.? How dare you do that? Versus, oh, I wouldn't do that. That's not my draft order. But hey, bro, more power to you. It's never more power to you. It's you're an idiot, you're stupid, you're trying to go viral, this, that, and the third. It's just like, dog, how did we get here, bro? Like,
and you know what makes it more funny, Herbie? These motherfuckers will never come back. They ain't gonna come back, and like us, like, we'll come back and we'll say, hey, we were wrong. We were dead wrong. There's so many picks I've made, Herbie, that are dead fucking wrong. You want to know why? I'm human, Herbie. I'm gonna like certain guys and they're gonna not pan out. Like, it's okay to be wrong because we're all wrong a lot of the time. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But most people just live in this fantasy world where they're always right, and it's just like, no, you just know how to move goalposts enough to always make it feel like you're on top. That's not the case.
look at this. Look at this right here. Hold on. Matter of fact, look at this, dog. This is what I'm trying to say right now. Hold on. Let's go ahead and let's what's it called, box it, bro. Let's go ahead. This was random, guys, so I do apologize. I wasn't even expecting to do this. Hold on. But I just read something and it made me want to fucking it pissed me off, dog. Listen to this nonsense right here, bro. Listen to this nonsense right here. This last part. In each of these instances, Sims' analysis quickly rendered incorrect by on-field results. And while there's something to be said about being willing to take risk at a certain point, such a track record impacts the way others interpret your analysis. Not that Sim likely cares. He's always presented himself confident in his analysis. At the end of the day, the check's still clear. In an increasingly saturated industry, the 43-year-old has found a way to make his draft take stand out. How dare this man just have a draft take, bro? Like, this is what I'm talking about, dog. This is what I'm talking about. They're accusing this man of trying to stand out on purpose versus just this is what he thinks, bro. This is where we are with this shit. This is nuts. This is nuts.
Nowadays,
and you think Alpha Announcing is going to come back and say, hey, Chris Sims, we know we just hit a hit piece on you, but motherfucker, you got it right with Brian Thomas Jr. No, never going to come back around. Nobody ever come back around.
Nope.
People want to be in the same boat. People want to live in the same fucking parameters, whatever, dog. Like, and again, that's part of the reason why we did this podcast, why we started this, is because ultimately, bro, we got tired of hearing the same shit. I get tired of listening to ESPN. I get tired in most instances because I do think FS1 is a lot better than ESPN right now, especially the first takeification of ESPN, which you could feel the influence of Stephen A. throughout ESPN, and to me, it's made the channel much worse than it's been in years, which is, dog, you just want to yell and argue versus having thoughtful conversations about an incredible sport, which is football, dog.
They
But that's
want
neither here
clicks,
nor
bro.
there, bro.
They want
That's
clicks.
neither here nor there, bro. And I said all that to say this, man. Let's argue and yell about some of the biggest disappointments, bro, because we're not that much different than them, bro. So
Ah.
this is what I actually wanted to talk about, not to get sidetracked, man. We are, in my opinion, right? We love to, give people their flowers. We love to show love to people who deserve the love. But we're at our best when we're kicking people's backs in. And some of these people that we're going to discuss as far as the biggest disappointments of the 2024 NFL season deserve to get their back kicked in, man. So we're going to go with the least worthy of getting they're getting their back kicked in to the most deserving. So least to most. Starting with least, Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison had a good season by all standards. He had 800 yards. He had 57 receptions. He had 7 touchdown receptions. That, in most cases, is a standard, very solid receiver year, very solid year for a rookie receiver, no less. But he's on this list for one reason and one reason only. And it's part of the conversation that we just had, which is this wasn't supposed to be solid. You weren't supposed to be good. You weren't supposed to have a decent year. You were considered the best wide receiver prospect since Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson got drafted in 2007. That means that you were supposed to be better than Jamar Chase. And again, I'm not gonna go and name people just in hindsight. I'm just talking about prospects versus where they get drafted. So I'm not going to say Devontae Adams. I'm not going to say Justin Jefferson. Devontae Adams was a 3rd-round pick. Justin Jefferson was the 6th wide receiver taken. We're not going to use hindsight and say, oh, how did you miss? You had 5 people ahead of him. We're not talking about. I'm talking about the people that were the obvious best who turned out to be the best. That means you're saying that he better than a Mike Williams. He was better than a AJ Green. Better than a Julio Jones. These are all people that were drafted in the top 10. Since 2007. They all were dominant their first year. Every single one was dominant. In this age, if you are going to be that receiver, you're that receiver your rookie year.
You see it early. Yeah,
you see it very early.
Yeah, you see
in this
it
era with all the passing, with the advancements in offensive passing, the advancement with all the passes that you get, with all the opportunities that you get. Think about this. He had 57 receptions on 110
targets.
What's the word I'm looking for? Targets. Dog. You supposed to get at least 70 of those. You getting the opportunities.
Damn, wait. He had 110 targets and only 57 receptions?
He had 57 receptions out of 110 targets. And again, I'm seeing people try to blame Kyler Murray, even though Trey McBride led all tight ends with receptions this year. It's either him or Brock Bowers. So how can he connect with Trey McBride but not with Marvin Harrison? How is it a problem? How is Kyler inaccurate? Don't know how to get him the ball. When it comes to everybody else, he's doing fine, but it comes to Marvin Harrison. Because Marvin Harrison ain't who y'all thought he was.
Nope.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Nope.
Another disappointment. Caleb Williams. Another person similar to Marvin Harrison. This is somebody who are they saying the best prospect, best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. Since Andrew Luck, dog. Nick Wright
easily
said
the
that
least
the
impressive
Bears
guy of the class
were
this
going
season.
to make
Easily.
the Super Bowl this year because they had Caleb Williams. Nick Wright had said that Caleb Williams was one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the world when he was at USC last year. That is what we're talking about right now. That is what we're talking about right now. So not only did he, and again, if you look at the stats, it seems like he had a good season. It seems like he had a standard quarterback rookie season. 19 touchdown passing to only 6 interceptions. But anybody with the eye, anybody who actually watched those games could tell you, bro, that shit didn't look good. It didn't look like functional football. It didn't look like football at a professional level. It didn't
Mm.
look like somebody who had any idea what he was actually doing on a down to down basis on that field. He had to be a disappointment. He had to be coming to the season. He had this situation, rookie quarterback. How did that change that fast? Now they're trying to say the team is bad. No, got to stand on business. If he came into the best situation a rookie quarterback has ever had, he's obviously was disappointing.
I mean,
There's no ifs and buts about it. Go ahead.
Herbie, but here's the thing. See, I hate when people say that shit. Like, oh man, the Bears are bad. Okay, then color me this. Color me this. What were the Commanders before Jaden Daniels got there? What were the Commanders? What were the Broncos offense? Like, yeah, they like listen, like the Broncos had a defense brewing since last year. Okay, I got you. But the Commanders, Herbie, yeah, Dan Quinn, he's the new coach, blah, 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 blah. But dude, a quarterback makes a difference. We all know that. We all know that. So if the same, like, you can't say, oh, Caleb Williams went to a bad team. Well, a franchise quarterback is supposed to come in and give you life. He's supposed to come in and give you life, and Caleb didn't really do that. He had
At
something that was
all.
good in the beginning, and then when it fell off, he couldn't help bring the ship along. And listen, I get it. The Bears, especially on the offensive side of the ball, they were a disaster this year.
Disaster.
But
Disaster.
listen, Caleb is obviously going to get all the chances in the world to prove that he is who people think he is. But in terms of this season, I don't know how you could argue he's not a disappointment.
100%, man. All right, so we're going to blitz through two more, and then we could hone in on the last two, specifically one team, right? So another disappointment, Jags, obviously. But the Jags are only disappointment to people that would ever believe in the Jags. That's like 5 people in the planet, bro. So are they really a disappointment, dog? At the end of the day, it's just the Jags at that point. The 49ers, man. The 49ers are a disappointment for a variety of reasons, but they are a microcosm of what happens when you do not, and I repeat, when you do not execute or take advantage of the situation. Their window may be closed. I don't know. But they had 2 opportunities to win 2 Super Bowls in the past 4 years. They had a double-digit lead in both of those Super Bowls at one point, and they lost to both games. You can't do that, dog. Because when you lose those games and you have all these people that you pay, you're not going, like, it ain't sustainable to play this game, bruh. People get older. Those hits pile up. You know what they saying about Debo Samuel now? They say he just Kadarius Toney with a BBL, dog. Like, that's how they talk about this dude, man. It was an all-pro 2 years ago, man. Now they say he Kadarius Toney with a BBL.
Things change quick, man.
That's how quick this shit changed in this NFL, man. All right, man. Bengals. Disappointment. If you got anything to say, I don't really got nothing to say about the Bengals, bro. I don't know what you got to say.
This is what I'll say. The Bengals are disappointing only because Herbie mainly. Well, it's not so much the entirety of the Bengals was disappointing. It's really their defense let them down so bad. You have to think about it, Herbie. Joe Burrow was the leading passer in terms of just being a quarterback this season. Jamar Chase was the leading receiver. He had what, like 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns. I think he had like 120 receptions. I was looking at the stats earlier. I didn't keep them on me. But you have a wide receiver who you could argue could be in the conversation for offensive player. You could argue, because I know Joe Burrow is not going to win MVP. You could argue that Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase could win Offensive Player of the Year. Obviously that's going to Saquon. But they had seasons that were that good. You have 2 guys that you could have argued, that you could make solid arguments for being Offensive Player of the Year, and you mean to tell me that you couldn't even make in an era where the NFL has added an extra playoff team, y'all couldn't make it when you have a top 4 quarterback and a top 3 receiver? Like, it just goes to show the incompetence of that organization. The Bengals have always been known to be a cheap organization, and I just wonder. I'm just wondering, Herbie. Listen, Joe Burrow's great. clearly. And the Bengals moving forward, as long as they put together something, they're gonna have some good seasons, bro. It's just eventually gonna happen. But you wonder, Herbie, when you consider the history of the Bengals franchise, of them being the ownership being super cheap, of them not ever really, of them just letting go of players, like you wonder how much of a window he really has, Herbie. Because I don't want Joe Burrow to end up like Dan Marino, man, to go to a Super Bowl and never go back. Because when Dan Marino went to a Super Bowl his second year in 1984, Dan Marino said when they lost, "Oh, we'll be back." And he never went. He never sniffed that shit. So, Bengals fans, I'm just treading caution. As great as Joe is, in the era of the great quarterbacks that you have, the Mahomes and Josh Allen and fucking Lamar Jackson, and I'm talking. You got up and coming guys. Some people will tell you Justin Herbert, Jaden Daniels. Like in this era of just that's this golden age of quarterbacks. Listen, Herbie, it's only going to get harder to win a Super Bowl. It's only going to get harder. And it's hard enough to get past Mahomes, but you still got to get past the other guys too. But it's just the Bengals were a team you would have liked to see make the playoffs in this AFC wild card picture, but it's just disappointing, man.
Nah,
Disappointing as
most
hell.
def, most def, man, most def, man. And let's get to the last team, the team that we gotta really put our steel-toe boots in, man. Yeah, they won the game today, but fuck that. They are the most disappointing team, not only of this season, they might be the most disappointing team of this decade. This is almost as disappointing as that Philadelphia Eagles team when Vince Young was talking about, yo, bro, this like the all-star team, bro. I don't see how
It's
we
like the
could win the
dream
Super Bowl.
team. We're like
This
the
like the
dream
dream
team.
team. This is as disappointing as that Eagles team,
Oh.
bro. The 2024 Aaron Rodgers led New York stinking Jets are by far the most disappointing team of the 2024 season. It was a disaster after disaster. Rest in peace to Robert Sala's coaching career. Rest in peace to Garrett Wilson's progression as a wide receiver. Rest in peace to Brees Hall's any opportunity of growing as a running back. Rest in peace to the O line. Rest in peace to the defense. Rest in peace to the backup head coach who didn't even know what he was doing. Rest in peace to the players that are ran by Woody Johnson's two sons, allegedly. Rest in peace to the whole disaster that is upper state New York, man. You guys deserve the New York Jets, bro. They are such a reflection of what it is like to be somebody from New York, dog. You couldn't have had a better football team, man. So, Rod, the floor is yours. Put that size 13 Timberland to their fucking backs, man.
Listen, Herbie, listen. I tried to tell people before the season started, and I looked like a madman, Herbie. I told people, I said, man, when we talked about who was gonna give us the bad dope of the year, I said the Jets, man, and people were talking like, nah, man, Aaron Rodgers, that defense, he has Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall, and you know what it amounted to, Herbie? You know what all that amounted to? 5-12. 5-12. That's all they got, Herbie. And I love it, bro. And here's a you want to know what makes it even sicker, Herbie? You could make the argument, like almost like no question, that Aaron Rodgers, despite how awful the season the Jets had in entirety was, he had one of the best statistical seasons a Jets quarterback has ever had, in the midst of them having an awful dumpster fire level season. Yeah, we lost to them, but the Broncos ended our season more than anything, Herbie, because if we would have beat them, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So I won't even give Jets fans that satisfaction. Fuck the Jets. All right? Fuck them. I love it. And now,
Uh,
Herbie, here's the best part. You get rid of Aaron Rodgers. You
uh,
failed when you drafted Zach Wilson. Who's
uh,
next now? Who's gonna save you guys now?
uh, Bruh, if
Who?
listen, man, listen. If one of the six greatest quarterbacks couldn't save the Jets, Nobody can. And when I say sixth greatest quarterbacks, I don't mean of this decade. I don't mean currently in the NFL right now. I mean all time. Any era. He is one of the six greatest people to ever throw a football professionally. He
Easy.
couldn't save the Jets. The Jets thought they were getting Tom Brady. They thought they were getting a Super Bowl. No.
They thought they were
It's
getting
more
paid.
than they thought they thought they were getting Peyton Manning. They thought they were getting their Denver Broncos Peyton Manning. No.
No. No,
You got
Jets.
Aaron Rodgers. You got the guy that it makes sense why he only has one Super Bowl despite all the talent that he has. You got the guy that was able to alienate those around him. You got the guy, the only person that Greg Jennings hates in his life. You know how much you have to be, how much of an a-hole or just an insufferable person you have to be for Greg Jennings to hate you? The only people that like Aaron Rodgers is Devontae Adams and maybe his mama at times. And he doesn't even talk to
And
his
James
parents.
Jones. James
And
Jones,
James
man.
Jones.
Oh my God. When I watch the facility from time to time, and if they bring up, bro, this season, the amount of times that he was tapping Aaron Rodgers on the ass, as bad as the season.
Listen, I'm not trying to make this. There's no way to make this joke without it having the social and the social political tones behind it. I promise you, that's not what I'm trying to make this joke. I'm just talking about it how it looks visually. But whenever I see James Jones willing to die for Aaron Rodgers, die on that hill, it just reminds me of the meme from Django, bro, when Samuel L. Jackson is holding Leonardo's dead body, bro, saying, no. Guys, I'm not trying to say James Jones is an Uncle Tom. I'm not trying to say he's a white man bootleaker. I'm not trying to say that at all. It's going to look that way. I'm just saying that man loves him some Aaron Rodgers, man.
He loves Aaron. He loves Aaron.
He will dive in traffic, move in traffic for Aaron Rodgers, man. That's
real
I'm
love
saying.
right there, man.
That's real love, man. That's 90s love, man. Right there, dog. But no, dude, it's even worse. Like, this is what makes it so funny, and I'm so enjoyable and so lovable and just so funny, is that it went exactly how Aaron Rodgers, it was a match made in heaven of dysfunction, right? Like, you had when that article came out about the dysfunction in regards to the Jets and how allegedly Woody Johnson didn't want Jerry Jeudy because his Madden rating was not good enough, which has since been debunked. But the bigger issue is that people believed it, whether it was true or not. It was believable. And that's
how
the problem.
Fucked up the organization is.
That's how bad your organization is. People automatically didn't scoff at the notion. That's bad enough. That's even worse. That your 14-year-old and 18-year-old son have real power and real sway over roster decisions.
Ridiculous. Herbie, I work in the granite business, okay? Herbie, if I walked into a shop with the experience that I have and I see there's an owner there and there's his 14-year-old son and his 18-year-old son are like telling guys what to do. And it's one thing if he taught them since they were like 5 years old and they're fucking geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
That's different, I guess. That's
different.
But if they're just like your kids and they're just, you just have them around because you don't want them getting in trouble, whatever the fuck the case is, and they're the ones making decisions, Herbie, I'm out of there quick, man. I'm out of there quick. I'm out of there quick. And I know in football, you don't really have that option. You sign contracts. You got to be there for a certain amount of time. I get it. But if I seen that in my work field, I'm out of there quick. Because what the hell is that? Like, what is that? Like, how does that even happen? You know what I mean? Like,
God.
how?
Oh my God.
Oh
bro.
my God.
Oh,
only Herbie. Only the Jets, Herbie.
Only the Jets.
Only
dog.
the Jets, dog.
Oh shit, bro. I'm laughing so hard I done fucked my thing up, bro. Hold on, dog. Guys, I'm sorry, man. My head is too big for y'all to see my real head, bro. But whatever. Now, we just thugging it out like this, bro. Fuck it. Fuck it. We just thugging it out, man. This has been a disaster. Like, this has been an utter disaster, dog. All right, man. Give me 1 second. Let me go switch hats real quick, man. So you filibuster for the homie. And
Got you,
kick them
man.
back in some more, bro.
Kick the back in some more. Listen, y'all. I can never get enough talking about the Jets, man. And this is the segment where we're talking about the biggest disappointments. And I think we got to most of them, right? But let me tell y'all something, man. And I know I spoke about this in terms of the Dolphins. So, listen, the Jets are our division rival. They're my personal most hated division rival. I'm sure every football fan, every diehard football fan, you don't like your division rivals, but there's always that particular one. And I know Dolphin fans who hate the Patriots more or they hate the Bills more, which is rare, actually. Like most of the Dolphin fans I know, they're like me. They can't stand the Jets. Like they'd rather see anybody else win but them. But Herbie,
It's always funny.
I
Like,
can't get enough of it, man. I can't get
it's
enough of it,
always
man.
funny, like, when you have, like, division and who hates the division rival more. Like, depending on how what stage you became a fan. Like, I know
Yeah.
if you were an old head Cowboys fan, you will never hate nobody than the Redskins. Me, my beef was the Giants. I know a lot of people who can't stand the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny how, like,
The old head Dolphin fans I've met, the Bill, they've hated the Bill. Even like when the Bills were bad, I used to be like, damn, why do you hate the Bills so much? And they would look at me and be like, it was them. They were in our way. They were in Dan Marino's way. And they did end us. They did finish our season in a lot of playoff years in the 90s, Herbie. So I could understand that hatred, bro. If I was witnessing that myself, like if the Dolphins had a great quarterback during the Brady era and we just couldn't get past them, I would feel that pain, I guess. And then you would think that I would hate the Patriots more because of how they dominated, but it didn't
nah,
matter, Herbie, because we
yeah.
sucked. We sucked
Yeah,
along with
for
the
sure.
Jets and the Bills. So fuck it.
Fuck
So
it.
fuck it.
All right. Let's go ahead. We got two things before we get out of here. I'll let you pick whichever you decide that you want to do. We could either do around the NFL. We can talk about the Gerard Mayo news, Aaron Rodgers' last game, which we spent enough time, or we can talk about the playoffs matchups and the new draft orders. Man, where you want to take it first?
Let's do it around the NFL, man. Let's do it around the NFL.
Around the NFL, man. Boom. Okay, so that's gonna lead us into the draft order, and then we'll finish off with playoff matchups and get up out of here, man. So around the NFL, man. Uh, the biggest news today, obviously, is the firing of Gerard Mayo. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this and have this conversation with you, Rod, in particular, is because I know what's going to happen. It's going to be very predictable. The optics look terrible. And what happens is that a lot of people who don't actually follow teams or are up to date on the little day by day, they're going to have an opinion. We're going to see this on First Take. Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, Dan, or whoever, they're going to say, how can you fire Gerard Mayo? How can you do this? He only had one season. This isn't fair. This isn't right. You only hire black men to fail, which a lot of that is true. A lot of that is true. That is what's happening in this situation as well. I'm not here to deny that. But the reason why I want to have this conversation is because Gerard Mayo, he ain't do himself no favors, dog.
No.
So, yeah, it looks absurd. Absolutely absurd. Having somebody get let go, especially the team that he had, the situation that he was in, arguably, and I'm not even going to say arguably, he had the worst roster offensively in the NFL.
Easy. Easy.
Ramondre Stevenson was their second best player on offense, dog.
But behind the rookie quarterback.
Behind the rookie quarterback. Was their second best player on offense behind the rookie quarterback, who was seen by some in the community as a project. He just happened to be a lot better than he was. But god damn. And listen, so many things are at play, right? One, the reality situation is people who follow the Patriots did not like Gerard Mayo. They thought he was ass. They did not think he was equipped for the job. So he had that working against him. Two, Gerard Mayo was the reminder to somebody that the owner of the team hates. like, like the
Belichick
play.
Jr., bro.
The
Belichick Jr., bro.
A lot of people don't know the history, but how Gerard Mayo had even got the job. Gerard Mayo was a coach in training for the past 5 seasons. When he was playing, he was the coach in training. They had, I want to say, Tom Brady and they had Gronk on the Fox pregame show, and they were talking about how they used to just call Gerard Mayo Bill Belichick's son because that's how they felt. That's how Bill Belichick treated the situation. Everybody knew that Gerard Mayo was Bill Belichick's favorite person, whatever, player, coach, whatever, in the building, besides his own son. You might argue that he loved Gerard Mayo more than he loved his own goddamn son. You could argue that too.
Right.
So the plan was to put Gerard Mayo and make him the coach no matter what. But I think what happened was Robert Kraft obviously seems like a person that is a man of his word and a person that is loyal. I think he did not want to make Gerard Mayo his coach, but he had to keep his word because at the time he had to honor it because at the time when he decided to do this and they put that can together, he didn't fucking hate Bill Belichick's guts. Things happen. Things change. Things change very fast in the NFL. Part being, Bill Belichick cannot wait to throw dirt on his own protege. Bill Belichick was kicking Gerard Mayo's back end this whole season.
So that's some of the coldest shit in the world, man. You went from being your son to just kicking him and like you just kicking him like a
I
dog.
wouldn't have
You don't
managed a
want,
situation like that.
Crazy.
When I was there, our defense was top 5. I don't know what happened. Nigga, what do you mean you don't know what happened? Bill Belichick is the smartest mind in the history of football. You know what you're doing when you say some crab ass shit like that. You know what you're saying.
Creep as hell.
Gerard Mayo had his own mentor working against him. He had the city of New England working against him.
Let me tell you, I lived in Massachusetts for a number of years. I those of you who have been following us for a long time, I know this. But like, back in like, let's say between 2013, 2016, I lived in Massachusetts. So I follow a ton of, Bostonians on my social media. And let me tell you, the amount of, it wasn't all the Patriots fans. You always have those fans that are going to side with positivity. But a majority of the Patriots fans I seen on my shit, they're rejoicing today. They are fucking rejoicing, Herbie. They were like, Gerard Mayo, get the stepping like Martin, nigga. Get the stepping. They were ready to get Gerard Mayo the hell out of Dodge, Herbie. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing worse, Herbie. There's nothing worse than when you have someone who's just an impersonator. And for whatever reason, and this is specific to Bill Belichick's coaching tree, the guys that come out from under him always want to be like him without being him. And it always blows up in their face, Herbie, when they're head coaches. Every single time.
Every single time. So we're gonna just it's a running count of people that was working against Gerard Mayo. And the last person on the list is the most significant person, right? So the city, the owner's son, his own mentor, and the last and most important person that was working against Gerard Mayo was Gerard Mayo. The nigga didn't know what he was doing, dog. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And again, some people are not cut out to be an NFL head coach. It might not be his time. Me and Gerard Mayo are the same age. That sounds crazy. It feels crazy, but it's not. I think he has a year on me. He is a very young dude. It's hard. Not everybody can be Sean McVay, who could be a leader of men at 30 years old. Sean McVay is a generational talent as a head coach. There are specific skills that you just have to be good at, or you have to learn or develop, or you have it innately. The management was not good when it came to team management. The offensive structure was not good. The discipline was horrendous with the New England Patriots under Gerard Mayo. So I knew Gerard Mayo was done. And again, this is going back to when do you follow a team or are you paying attention to games or not? I don't know if it was against the Bills 2 weeks ago, but they ran a play and they had I don't and again, I'm to the point where I think all of this shit is scripted because how could this ever happen on purpose or just by chance? They showed Robert Kraft and Steven Kraft in the press box yelling about a play, and you can literally hear the audio saying, you hear Steven saying, what the hell are they doing? You can't do that. What are they doing? What are they running? When that happened, he was a dead man walking.
It was a wrap. Yeah,
It was a wrap. So it
Yep.
might be shocking to people who are not in the weeds when it comes to Patriots. This shit is not shocking, dog. Like, he was already set up to fail as a black head coach. A lot of times, black head coaches are not given fair chances. Todd Bowles, notwithstanding. And look what happened for Todd Bowles. What's the dude's name? The previous coach of the Bucks. Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians handpicked Todd Bowles. If it wasn't up for Bruce Arians making sure that Todd Bowles got that job and making sure that Todd Bowles got a good situation, because look at the previous situation that Todd Bowles had. He had the Jets. He had the fucking Dolphins as a fucking
interim coach. Yeah.
As an interim coach. Bruce Arians looked out for Todd Bowles as a black man to get a good head coaching job. You get screwed as a black head coach. Vance Joseph got screwed with the Arizona Cardinals. He got one job and it was over.
Do people even remember Steve Wilkes? He had 1 year and boom, he was out.
Steve Wilkes got screwed. It was over. Raheem Morris, by the grace of God, got another opportunity. But his first stint when he was with the Bucks, he wasn't set up to fail. If you're a black head coach, you're set up to fail out the gate. You are the stepping stone. You're the coach that's going to take the bullets before they want the real coach to get in. Brian Flores, he was set up to fail in Miami. Brian Flores was not the long-term person. The rare opportunity, and it's not always a black coach too. We're talking about them right now. They're playing the game right now. They're up 7-0 against the Vikings, the Detroit Lions. No, I promise you, if you give the fucking Detroit Lions true sermon, they did not hire Dan Campbell to be the long-term person. They hired him for the rebuild, and they were going to get him out of there. He just happened to be unbelievable at the job.
I mean, you could argue the same for Flores, Herbie. He got fired really not even for football reasons. He got fired for personal reasons. Like, you could argue the same. Like, the Dolphins hired him to be the fall guy, and they were like, oh, wait a minute. Like, Ross was like, wait a minute. Like, this guy's actually a really good fucking coach. And he got 2 more years out of it. And then, obviously, all the other bullshit happened to it, blah, blah, blah.
And it is what it is, but
yeah.
And the difference with this is Gerard Mayo was not hired to be the fall guy. Gerard Mayo was hired to be the future.
To be the guy.
Yeah. To be the guy. But that ended well before he even got his chance. Robert Kraft didn't want him because Robert Kraft, every time he sees him, he sees Bill Belichick and he wants to fucking puke behind that, dog. He couldn't get this dude out of here fast enough. And today was the nail in the coffin, bruh.
That was it.
You can't win this game, dog. I'm sorry, bro. Like
Joe Milton had the game of his life too. Joe Milton was out there looking like prime Aaron Rodgers, dog. I was like, man, who the fuck is this guy? Who's this guy? Holy shit, man.
You can't, man. We don't really gotta talk about Aaron Rodgers. We talked enough about it. Again, we'll just say this. We'll go in passing. Aaron Rodgers, it might be his last game. It is what it is. But we long for time. So let's get the last thing in, man. Let's talk about the draft order and then finish off the playoff matchups. And let's get right into it with the draft order, man. This win is in a long line of terrible decisions to win a game that you had no business winning. We seen it with the Giants 2 weeks ago, or last week, I'm sorry, and we seen it with the Patriots today. The Patriots had a 53% chance to end the season with the number 1 overall pick. You cannot win this game. Yes, Gerard Mayo feels he could pat himself on the back. He went out on his shield. Congratulations, dog. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Joe Milton went out on his shield. Whoop-de-fucking-do. But that is for the players to enjoy that. The players are temporary. We, the fans, are supposed to be here for a lifetime. No fan of a New England Patriots is happy today. I promise you that, dog. They went from first with a 53% chance to get the first overall pick down to fourth. They were for sure going to trade out of that number one spot. They don't need a quarterback.
Just get assets. Get
They
assets.
could have gotten
baby.
assets. So this is in the long line of all-time terrible tank jobs, right? Like, this is reminiscent of the 2020, and of course, ironic and psych, the 2020 Jets, who had all but secured the rights to draft Trevor Lawrence. And then they did this most stupid Jets thing ever. They won a meaningless game against the fucking Cleveland Browns, dog. Why? Why?
You know what, Herbie? I will say this, man. When it comes to that, like, there is, listen, I get it for the players, right? Like, the players, obviously, they have their own reasons why they don't want to lose. You know, some guys are showcasing for maybe their next destination. Some guys just have it in them to just not just lay down. And then there are just those cases, Herbie, is just, you know, I think there's a lot of, when it comes to the players, I get it. But there are actually fans, Herbie, that they don't ever want to see their team lose, even if you know, it helps the team, right? Like me personally, I don't really like seeing the Dolphins lose when we are in the thick of things. But like when we have like the 1-15 season we had in 07, like that was a season, Herbie, where I was just like, I became desensitized to football, to Dolphins football, to the point where it just didn't matter to me whether they win or lose. Like when it gets to that point for me, I just don't care, even though I understand that losing actually benefits us. But there are people, Herbie, who can't grasp that. There are people who never want to see their team lose, even though losing is what you need when your team sucks because you get a better draft pick. So it's crazy how that works out, but that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like I'm the complete opposite, right? Because at the end of the day, like I look at things holistically because you have to. Like you have to look at this shit holistically, dog. Like you don't got no choice but to look at this shit holistically because if you don't, you end up doing what these guys did today, bruh. And it's just like, I get it, man. I understand it, dog. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm trying to get your shit straight or whatever. I'll do that shit later. But I get it, bro. You want to, cause okay. So we were gonna talk about tanking beforehand. It just happened that the Patriots did the worst possible thing because somebody in one of the football groups I follow that we follow mentioned like, oh, they need to do things to curtail tanking in the NFL. And I replied, you can't tank in the NFL, dog. You really can't. It's not enough fucking games, bruh. Like, people don't know that they're completely out of it till about week 15, week 14, the earliest. So you can't tank, one. And two, even if you don't put your best players on the field, the dudes who are playing are going to play hard. They're not thinking about the team. They're thinking about film. They're thinking about their next employer, possibly. So they're going to put their best foot forward. That's how you have a Drew Lock who threw for 5 touchdowns last week and almost 500 yards or whatever the fuck he did, bro. You know what I'm saying? So you can't take in the NFL. The only thing you can do is hope that your team that you put out there loses. Like, and the only way to ensure that they lose is to put the worst players out there. But you can't tank in the NFL. So Gerard Mayo did what he was supposed to do, which is try to win a game. Especially if he got fired or he knew he was going to get fired. Nigga, fuck you, nigga. Middle fingers, nigga.
Why would I help y'all out?
Why would I help y'all out? You taking food off of my plate. Why would I help y'all out?
Kick rocks.
So yeah, Patriot fans could be pissed. And again, I'll be pissed too. But he did what he was supposed to do. He knew. Adam Schefter, before the game started, said the Patriots were leaning on firing him. That shows how dumb the Patriots are. Because now you're putting that out in the universe. Of course, he's going to try to say, man, Joe Milton, bruh, go 19 for 19, dog. We're going to call the best plays that we've been saving that we've ever had, bruh. Like, fuck it. Let's get this W. But it is funny that it completely changed everything. So now Tennessee is in the driver's seats of the 2025 draft. The Cleveland Browns have a huge decision to make. Are you gonna still run it back with the nasty man? Can you possibly do that?
The nasty
Can you?
man.
You
Oh
got the New
man.
York Giants, who ironically are back in a position that kind of helps them, or they would have ended up anyway. You feel me? And then
Yep.
you got the New York England Patriots at 4. So New England is probably going to take Travis Hunter, depending on what the guys up front do. But they might not even get a chance to draft Travis Hunter now, because depending on what Cleveland Browns do, the draft is ultimately going to be decided by Cleveland Browns, right? The Cleveland Browns could take Travis Hunter, and now that leaves the New England Patriots with who? This is not a good draft for any position. All the positions are subpar.
Yeah, this is one of the weakest drafts like in recent memory that I can think of.
Facts, bro. So yeah, man, I just find that funny, dog. But with that said, man, let's go ahead and close out the show with the current playoff matchups, man. We got the playoff picture. Go ahead and get this right. We got the playoff picture, man. Hold on. Get more of it. And bam.
Oh, I didn't even check the score of the game. Let me take the let's see what the game looking like right now.
It is a very high scoring affair. 7-0. Hey man, all that love we gave Sam Darnold, man, he coming back to reality, man. Shout out to him, dog. Predictable.
5th seed, Sam.
Predictable. All right, man. So this is the playoffs, man. That's what we got, man. We got on the AFC side, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chargers, and Steelers, and the Broncos, man. Bills are going to play the Broncos. The Ravens are going to play the Steelers.
Third time, baby. The tiebreaker game. The tiebreaker game.
God, bro.
The tiebreaker game, dog.
Oh
you know
my
what's funny
God.
about that? You know what's funny about that game, though, Herbie? Even though I fully expect the Ravens to get past the first round, I just wouldn't be surprised. Like, the Steelers are the one team with that weird fucking magic. Like, they know how to kind of play Lamar. And then Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl winning quarterback in the past. Mike Tomlin, Super Bowl winning coach. And you just never know in games like that, Herbie. Sometimes, like Russ might have one fucking game in him in the playoffs, and it might be this one. That's what I'm thinking. It's possible.
Put it like this, man. Lamar Jackson better win this game.
Has to.
Better win this game. It ain't no has to. He better win this game. Lamar Jackson is going to be the league MVP this season. I know I said last pod that I could give it to Josh Allen. To me, with all that he's accomplished this season, and I'm talking about Lamar Jackson, if Josh had to win the number 1 seed to get the MVP to overcome everything that Lamar done. So I've changed my opinion. Lamar Jackson is going to be, he is the MVP, deserved to be the MVP. He's going to win the MVP. It won't be a robbery, but I can't see any possible avenue to give it to Josh now, seeing that he only has one more win and he's only one more up in the playoff rankings, right? So that's there. You cannot lose as a 3-time MVP at home to a team that you just dominated, which would be a week ago, 2 weeks from now. It'll be 2 weeks from you beating Steelers to win the division, essentially. You cannot let them come to your house in Baltimore and beat you based off of who you are, based off of what your pedigree is going to be at the time of the game, and based off of everything that has preceded all your career up until this point, the naysayers, the conversations, everybody saying you can't win when it actually fucking matters. You better. And not only should you better beat the Steelers, you better kick their ass, dog.
Listen, Herbie, the Ravens are my AFC team since the Dolphins are out. So they're the team. I want to see Lamar win a championship. So for me, I'm rooting for him. Trust me, I don't want to see the Steelers beat them, but I'm giving a lot of respect to the Steelers because I'm really giving respect to Mike Tomlin and a lot of the talented players that they have on that team because every year, Herbie, you expect them to be dead in the water, and with him as the head coach, it never happens. But
It would be so it's hard to cut you off. It would just I know the Ravens were pissed when the final thing came off, dog. Cause like, damn, we gotta play them again.
yeah.
Like we gotta
They
play
would have
them again.
they would have rather played the Chargers, I bet. I bet they would have rather played the
Absolutely.
Chargers.
Absolutely.
100%.
Justin Herbert and the Chargers can't wait to fucking piss the bed, bruh. Like they pissed the bed today. Like shit, bruh. Like I know they can't wait to piss the bed, so they would have much rather play the Chargers, dog. Like the only way to beat Lamar is to consistently play him. That's it. That's why he has the record that he has against the NFC because they're not used to playing him. You can't prepare for Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Unless you play him 2 times a year, dog.
And now the Steelers get that third shot. Ooh, the Texans Chargers, man, talk about a game of two teams that you don't expect to do shit.
Man, that's the metathon right there, man. That's the metathon, man. Shout out to the metathon, man. Shout out to the metathon.
But listen, Herb, if I were to give any kind of real analysis for that game, Herbie, the way the Texans O-line has been this year, I expect the Chargers to dominate on the road. Like I expect them to, dog. But you know what though? I say that, but Herbert could be susceptible to the Texans D. That's gonna be an ugly game. I don't think it's gonna be an exciting, high-flying game, bro. I think it's gonna be one of those defensive games with two young, talented quarterbacks that ain't gonna be doing shit because the defenses are gonna be on top of them. That's just how I feel.
Okay, man. Let's go into the NFC side, man. We have it according to what happens today, and if the score stays the same, I believe the score is still 7-0 with a whole half to play, up 7-3. We got the Lions currently the number 1 seed, Eagles, Buccaneers, Rams, Vikings, Washington Commanders, and the Packers, man.
Ooh,
first
man,
things first. Shout out to
go
the NFC North to have a situation where the NFC North had 2 teams that were so good that one was 14-2, and either one is going to be the 5th seed. That is insane.
That's going to be the highest 5th seed of all time. A 14-win 5th seed? Has that ever even happened?
Insane. I don't think it's ever happened.
I can't remember that.
Mathematically, how is it even possible? That means that they literally beat everybody else except each other, dog. That's how it shook out.
Pretty much. Pretty much. They have one other loss to somebody else and they lost to each other type shit. That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's insane, bro. That's insane, man. But that 2-7 matchup is going to be incredible. That's going to be the game I want to watch the most because for as much as the Packers have not reached their potential, they've played up to their potential in spurts, but never really put it together. And of course, I'm going to be rooting for like the Packers like crazy. I'm praying that the Packers bring it all together against the Eagles, dog. But then you got the Buccaneers and Commanders. That's a fucking great game. And
now the NFC has great games,
bro.
Every matchup is on point.
The NFC playoffs is going to be a bloodbath, dog. It's going to be such a bloodbath that I might have to take whoever comes out of the AFC. Period. Just because it ain't gonna be as hard. Like 3 games in the NFC, nigga, that is a Mike Tyson fight, dog. That's a Mike Tyson fight every single game, no matter who you play. Think about this: the potentially easiest team in the NFC side is the Bucks, and they not easy. So yeah, bro, it's gonna be an interesting playoffs, man. I'm super excited, bro. Super excited,
weekend,
man.
Can't wait. We're gonna have a show ready for y'all, man. This shit about to be
man.
lit.
Easy, man. All right, man. Any last words before we get out of here?
Man, the usual, man. Just want to thank everybody who's everybody who's been supporting. The channel continues to grow. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate the love. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully y'all keep tuning in, man, because we love doing this and we love fucking with y'all, man. You know what I'm saying?
Facts,
I'm ready,
man. All the way
ready for next
around,
week, man.
So we will see y'all next week, man. We will be documenting all the playoffs games, man. Can't wait, man. See y'all later. Deuces.